Today it's production day because our freezers, they were filled up with leftover trimmings from a lot of episodes and cooks we've done. So we have meat from beef ribs, from when we broke down a short loin, there's a link down below how to do that, and trimmings from various cuts of beef. And we have a piece of beef knuckle here actually, which was one of our first episodes that we smoked. If you want to see some toe crumbling video shots, then go back and watch that one.
It's not that bad.
So, and that's actually the beauty about this, because all the trimmings that you do, you save them and you use them for this. But
and
today,
they're all high quality Black Angus.
It's all Black Angus, yes, true. But today we're going to make a stock. We're not going to make a beef broth. So we're going to roast this, and we're going to roast some onions also to caramelize them. I have here 1.5 kilo of onions that we're going to add to.
That will give stronger taste.
Yes,
flavor.
because. And then we're going to add some celery, some leek, parsley, and carrots, so it's relatively simple. But all of the meat and the onions, we want to cover them in tomato paste. I'm not sure how much I need. Here is 0.5 kilo. I'll see. Maybe I open one more. We'll see. Get that on top of the onions. I'm going to put on a couple of gloves and massage it in because you want them covered. This is going to give a nice, rich flavor to this.
And a darker color.
Yeah, for sure.
Than just a broth.
Absolutely. And that's what we're looking for. We are looking for a dark, rich, let's say, relatively thick, condensed stock.
Lock, stock, and 2 smoking barrels.
Yeah, a good movie, by the way.
Excellent.
I think I can manage with this. I don't have to open another can, I think. I think this is enough. Get the rest out here and put on a couple of gloves. You can do it bare hand, but you're going to stink of onion.
Which you do very often. Onion, garlic.
So basically just get in there and make sure they are all nice and covered in tomato paste.
But why are we roasting with tomato?
Because we get a deeper flavor and a darker color, and we want that tomato flavor to go into our stock at the end. Again, if you were making broth, you would basically just boil meat to get the protein into the water to create that lighter kind of product. But here we want something dark. That looks nice to me. And then we put them in the middle rack. Preheated oven, 230 degrees, to roast for about an hour. We will turn them half an hour in, we will give them a flip. And same goes for the onion, middle rack, 230, and let them roast. Meanwhile, we're gonna prep our vegetables, and let's start out with the carrots. I'm not gonna peel them, I just washed them and brushed them clean, so we take off the ends. And then we just wanna cut them into rounds like this. And we had one that tried to escape. Up to a side with that. Then we move on to the leek, but we have a little bit more prep work to do on these because we want to cut them like this and then split them in half. So we can chop them like that. The reason for this is, and I'll show you, we want them to separate so we can wash them, because there's a tendency, there's a lot of sand between the leaves and leek. So we're going to separate them like this, and then when we have them all in there, we're going to go over and wash them so we don't get any sand or soil or whatever into our stock. So always remember this with leek, because
they need extra wash.
Yeah, they do. Especially here because we are taking both the white and the green part, so there will be some. So separate them out here, and then we're gonna go wash them. Well, we're actually 40 minutes in, but that's okay. And you see here, we're starting to get some blackening on top, nice caramelization. They're getting soft. They will need some more though, because they are still a little bit hard. We want them to caramelize more. I'm guessing maybe even 40 minutes more. But it takes time to make good stuff. Give them a toss. And the meat also. Let me me pull it out here so you can see how it's going. See, it's getting nice and brown on top, but we just want to give him, at least the big ones here, a flip. So these also needs much more time to go, that's for sure. Steer it around a bit. We want this to become really roasted before we stop here. So last vegetable is celery, and I have here, what do you call it, a head? A whole head of celery, I would say we call it. And you don't have to worry about cutting off the bits here. It doesn't matter for what we are doing today. We just want to cut them into like small chunks like we did the carrots. So we get some surface area while boiling. The meat and the onions are roasted and everything is set up here around me with the vegetables. And I have a large stock pot here. This is 24 liters, 25 quarts. So first up is our beef knuckle. And then I want to take one of these from the oven. As you see, nicely roasted. But I'm not going to pour it in. I'm going to take the meat pieces one by one because I don't want to empty all that fat we have in the bottom. Then it will become too fatty. There is still fat left inside the meat, and that will give us enough for the stock. So everything goes like this. Don't forget to get also the tomato paste. We want that to follow. But all that fat there we don't want to bring. And then we're going to come in with our nice onion here. Look how nice they became. Nice and caramelized.
They're very aromatic now.
Ah, they smell good. But this is going to give us that deep flavor and darker
Color,
stock instead of this light colored broth. That's what we're going for today. Carrots. Celery.
The pot might prove to be small.
Leek. Well, I have thought about buying a bigger one, but it will be. We are not going for volume here. We are going for condensed flavors. And then I have here a bunch of. This is actually lemon thyme. You can use thyme or lemon thyme. Don't fall into the trap of putting rosemary or anything that's way too aromatic.
Yeah.
And garlic, for God's sake, no, not here. You will put that in the end product where you're going to use the stock. Now we're going to fill that up with water, and I'm doing that with a second pot because you don't want to run around with a 25-liter pot in the kitchen full of water. It's going to get heavy, so we fill it up using another pot, and we're going to fill it all the way to the top. Leave a couple of centimeters there on the side. Now I'm going to start this up on the big burner here on high to bring it to a boil. And then we're going to move it to a smaller burner because we want this to simmer very, very slowly for a very long time. Now it's come up to a boil. So now I'm going to switch this down to minimum on this burner here. But most likely, as I said, we will move it to another. Oh, this smells already divine. The gravy we're going to make with this. I mean, that's going to be amazing. Down with the parsley, down with the thyme. Yeah, I can see we will move this to a smaller burner because this will boil way too hard here. But anyway, now we want to let this simmer for a lot of hours actually. But we will keep you updated as we go along. Now we've been going for 4.5 hours, so let's see how this is looking. That's looking good. Everything is softened up. The bones are all clean now, if you can see that. Yeah, everything is off. And you see also now we have quite some fat here on the surface. So what we're going to do now is we're going to switch it off. And then we're going to let it cool down a little bit. And then we'll put it in the fridge overnight. That will drag all the fat to the surface. And then we can take that and skim that tomorrow. And then we'll start it up again. And then we'll finish it off in the morning. So see you tomorrow. Hello again. The day after. Good morning. And pot straight out of the fridge, and as you can see, we have a whole layer of fat as accumulated on the top here that we want to.
That smells good, actually.
It smells good, yes, it does. It's a nice broth. Yeah. As you can see, there is a lot of bits and pieces of vegetables and stuff in the fat here. But since we're not going to throw it away, we're going to put it to good use. So I'm going to skim off the fat here with a little bit of bits and pieces. that doesn't matter. Because we're gonna warm that up and strain it. And then we're gonna save it, because basically what you have here is what should we call it, aromatized beef tallow.
Yeah, with extra flavors.
Exactly, and you can use that for a lot of things. Pan sauces, for instance. We're going to use some of this for a pan sauce coming up, actually.
Definitely.
It's for sure. So you take, it doesn't matter if you leave a little bit behind here in the pot. I mean, it's, but you want to get most of it out. And then after we finish skimming, we're going to bring this baby here back to a simmer. And then we're going to let it go for probably another 4 or 5 hours, so we reduce even further. We've had the lid a little bit ajar for the last couple of hours, and as you can see, we have reduced quite a bit now, so this will be ready soon. But before we get to that, I want to deal with our fat, and in order to strain it, we need to melt it a little bit, so let's put it here on some relatively low flame, so we get all of this melted down, so we can strain it, so we have a clean fat we can use for so many good things. All nice and melted. So let's get that strained out. So we have a clean product. Never throw away anything if you can avoid it. There we are. That's pretty clean, I would say. Put that here. And all that's left to do is to put this into a mason jar, and you have some beautiful beef tallow, aromatized,
and super flavored.
Look, they were made for each other. Yeah. And now we want to close this while it's still warm, so that it sort of vacuum seals itself, and that will give you a shelf life of at least a couple of months in the fridge. Here it is, and this is basically liquid gold. But from here on in, it's going to get a little bit labor intensive, unfortunately. But it's well worth.
It's a messy affair.
That's for sure. It's messy, but it's well worth the effort. But first, I will try to see if I can fish out some of the bigger bones, because I don't want to take the vegetables out just yet. The vegetables I want to take over in my double layer strainer here, so I can squeeze out as much of the good liquid as possible from this. So I will try to see
what you can fish out.
What I can fish out, exactly. Whoa.
Oh.
Oh, it was a mess. You said so.
Ah, I knew it.
Yeah, well, fortunately we have a washing machine, so it is what it is. I'll have to change my shirt though, but that happens. We just keep going until we have all the big chunks out, and then we will get on straining the vegetables. Well, new outfit, more laundry. That's how it goes here. Now we got rid of most of the bones and the meat, and now we're going to start taking up some of the vegetables here. I have my, as I said, my big strainer here. And we're going to put this here, spoon by spoon, ladle by ladle. And then we're going to squeeze it. So you squeeze out all the good stuff here. And you want to be thorough here, because there is a lot of flavor in what you squeeze out here, and you have to scrape down the bottom of the strainer. As I said, labor intensive, but this is where you get all the good stuff. Well, we squeezed all the vegetables for as much liquid as we could. So now we have to strain out the rest of this. So up with the pot, and we start straining.
That's a lot.
Well, the yield is pretty good here. I'm actually pretty happy with this. We started out with a 24 liter or 25 quart pot here, and now we're left with, let me see, 6 liters of concentrated beef stock. And just, I mean, look at this. Look at the color of this. It's beautiful.
And the thickness.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, as I said from the beginning, you can continue this and take it down to between 2 and 3 liters and make a demi-glaze. And then you can freeze them in ice cubes, and you can put a bloop bloop in whatever you're making of soups. But this is not today, because what I need right now for the next recipes is stock. And that's what I have, and it's beautiful, it's dark, and it's rich. Now all that's left to do is to separate this into tappers or Ziploc bags and put it in the freezer, and you have super stuff for sauces or soups or whatever you have coming up. This is so rich in flavor you won't believe it. So give this a shot, you will thank me.